Hey, nature photographers, I'm back. After having been in Yellowstone and Grand Teton since January 2nd, I'm home now for 4 days before I leave for the Peruvian Amazon, where I'll be co-leading a riverboat workshop and cruise with Don Wilson. I'm looking forward to that, but I came home and I had a very exciting package waiting for me when I got here. This should be two new OM-1 Mark IIs. So I don't know about you, but does anybody else have a spouse that you can never find the scissors? I've bought like a package of 4 or 5 and I managed to find this one. So let's tear into this box. So today I'm going to talk about some of the settings that you should do that I like to think of as one and done. The kind of settings that you're only going to take a look at usually when you first get a camera, okay? Oh, looky there. How fun. Check this out. 2 boxes, if I can get it out of here. There we go. My OM-1 Mark II. Now, fortunately, we don't have to sit around and wait for batteries to charge because I always keep so many. I generally travel with anywhere from 4 to 6 batteries per camera body. Lee, that sounds like a lot of batteries. It is, because when I'm out in the field, many places you're not buying extra batteries, and it would be really dumb to get out in the field somewhere only to not have enough batteries and miss shots. I don't like turning my camera off to save battery life. I don't like it going to sleep. I want my camera ready to go. So, with that having been said, I carry lots of batteries. But the settings that I'm going to talk to you about today are those settings that when you get your camera, you're going to want to set them and you generally never think about them again, okay? So we're going to be taking a look at a variety of locations within the menu that you should do as soon as you get your camera, okay? Assuming you have a charged up battery. So let's jump right into that today and take a look at the things you want to do when it comes to setting up a brand new camera body. In this case, it'll be the OM-1 Mark II. There will be some overlap with the OM-1, and even maybe some of you might still be buying EM-1Xs. And you know what? This has the same batteries as the OM-1, and I'm reminded of the horror that people experienced when they had to buy different batteries from the EM-1X to the OM-1. Do you remember all the complaining and whining back then? Kind of seems to be a theme all too often when it comes to camera gear. Let's jump right into our menus, okay? Hey, nature photographers, I'm Lee Hoy, OM System Ambassador, photography workshop instructor for Wildside Nature Tours and Precision Camera and Video, and contributing author for the Journal of Wildlife Photography. Here we go. Okay, so before we jump into the menu, a couple of things. I want to go over the items that come in the box. First thing you're going to do is you're going to take the neck strap that comes with it. Don't ever put cameras around your neck. Your neck was not designed for holding a lot of weight around your neck. I use black rapid straps. I'll do videos about that, but do not put straps for your neck. The majority of accidents I see are people with straps on their neck, putting their camera on a tripod and still having it around their neck. It's just not smart. You don't need those. They're not quick. They're not easy. I had so many ladies with big, heavy camera lenses using neck straps, and when they got out of the van, they were all hunched over because of the weight pulling on this. That is not a smart way to do that. So in the box with the OM-1 Mark II, you're going to have this cable. Keep the cable for your firmware updates. These work much better than any other cable when it comes to doing your firmware updates. Keep it with the camera bodies, like the cable for the EM-1X. I've had times where only that cable would work for a firmware update and not a cable with an OM-1. Don't get rid of this. Keep it in your camera bag so that when you have an opportunity to do a firmware update, whether you're on the road or at home, you'll have the proper cable with you. You can buy cable ties like off Amazon or something. In fact, I'll put them in my affiliate links down below where you can write on the cable what it's for. That's a great way to remember, okay? So that comes in there. You get your little charger, right? Oh my God, I have to charge my batteries in camera and they want to charge more. listen, go out, you can go spend a whole lot more money for other cameras that also come this way. So here's the charger for charging the batteries in camera. And of course it does come with one new battery. I do not use other brands of batteries. I have, even with other camera systems in the past, I've just not seemed to have the best of luck when it comes to using third-party batteries. They seem to be the ones that can really go south in a hurry. You get this little bag, which I assume is going to be for the charger and the cable. I don't know. I haven't looked in the owner's manual yet, but perhaps that's what that little bag's for. So you've got that. Now, on my wildlife bodies, not on my landscape or my macro bodies, I always put a grip. Most people don't shoot vertical format images because it's a pain in the butt trying to do this, particularly if you've got the big 150 to 400 on this body. I have found that if you put a grip on the body with the 150 to 400, it has better balance as well. So I don't like an ungripped camera with bigger lenses, and I want 2 batteries for wildlife. I don't want one. Landscape, night sky, macro, 1 battery is going to be fine. And I like saving the weight because I can have a flash and I can handhold everything with one hand, including a flash diffuser. So keep that in mind. You want a grip on your wildlife body if at all possible, because you're going to have better battery life with that. Okay? Now, let's jump right into today's menus. Well, let's jump into our menus, but first, of course, I did remember what our little pouch is for. It's for our little flash. And of course, this flash is not designed for wildlife photography, macro photography. It's designed for an underwater camera housing. So you can put that little flash in that bag, and if you ever decide to do underwater photography, you'll have that handy. So we're going to take a look at the one and dones on the menus for the OM-1 Mark II. Now, many of these menu items would be the same or similar in the OM-1. So if you own the OM-1 or the EM-1X and you buy a new one, you will see some overlap in here, but there may be a few differences. Well, the first thing we're going to want to do, okay, we are going to want to select our language. This should be the easy part. We're going to go with English. Now, one thing to notice, if you see the little icon at the top of the screen, the mouth with the text box, if you ever accidentally change the language in your menu, and then before you ask who the hell could possibly do that, it happens. Trust me, I see it on workshops on occasion. Remember that little icon? You might even save it to the My Menu so that you can find it again later down the road if you accidentally do this. So we're going to select English, and we're going to set the time, okay? And today is February the 12th. So I'm going to go up to the 12th. And then we're going to set our time here. It is 5:38 when I'm recording this here on Central Standard Time. And you know, I'm not worried about too much if it's perfect, because I really don't. I'm going to be changing it when I travel anyways. So, I need to get to my time zone here in Texas, which is going to be right there, Central Standard Time. Okay. And you'll notice too, let me go back into the menu here. You'll notice too that if I go to the time settings, okay, that if I get in here, we can also press the menu button and press the info button, and we can apply daylight savings time. Well, right now it's February. We're not in daylight savings time, but we can do that later. So my time is set up correctly. And now let's begin to walk through our typical menu items. Now, one thing to note, when you are going to set up a camera for the first time, it's best to have a lens attached. Otherwise, some menu items may not be available for you to select and make changes to. So if you have pro lenses and non-pro lenses, it probably helps to put on the pro lens, because sometimes they have features that non-pro lenses don't have available. So let's jump right through here. So the first thing we're going to go to is, and in our menu tabs across the top, like here you see camera 1, camera 2, AF, autofocus. Notice that we can move from one menu tab item to the other using the front dial. That's my preferred method, okay? Notice too that our menus are color coded. So basic settings is kind of a baby poop mustard green. Camera 2 settings are purple, autofocus is green. So let's begin working through here. The first one I'm going to do that I'm going to call one and done is your camera image settings. So I shoot in RAW. I only shoot in RAW. I don't waste time setting in JPEG. I'm not going to be that professional YouTuber that has a shtick about how he shoots in JPEG and does no processing. That's bullcrap. There's processing done by something, either the camera or by you. And, I just prefer to be in charge of my own images. So I'm going to shoot in RAW, okay? And that one. Now, image aspect, micro four thirds. I generally prefer a full frame image aspect ratio. However, that's easy enough to crop to in Lightroom or whatever post-processing software of your choice. Now, image review, thankfully, the default is now off. I don't want an image popping up after I take another image and messing me up on that. Now, for moving from menu page to page, you can use the directional arrow pad, right? The directional pad arrow. You can use the joystick, which I find is a little less accurate for some people, or you can use the rear dial, okay? Any of those three modes will work. So we're gonna go to picture mode. Now, for me, I want the histogram on the back of my camera or through my viewfinder to be as close to the raw file as possible. And of course, our camera can't show us raw files, so it's showing us a JPEG. Well, if you look at these camera profiles, they're going to apply some kind of settings and basically adjustments to your image. So I shoot in camera muted. That way my JPEG on the back of my camera is as close to the raw file as possible. It's not applying any contrast, sharpening, saturation, any of the other features that you can apply. If for whatever reason you're shooting in JPEG, you want to set up these preferences. But shooting in RAW, I want to be in muted. So that's another one and done, okay? I'm going to leave it on white balance auto. I'm trying to stick to the one and done's color space. Adobe RGB contains many more colors than sRGB. I know what some are going to say, well, monitors and printers can only basically do sRGB. Well, there are a lot of monitors now and other devices that can actually show a much wider color gamut. So you want to be in Adobe RGB to capture more data in your images and not worry about it. Just leave it on Adobe RGB. Another one we want to do that's a one and done is on our noise filter. We're going to change that to off. We don't want our camera doing any noise reduction or processing. We want to do that post-processing where we have much more control, and we're going to find that we're much better able to deal with noise in post-processing than in camera. So low ISO processing, I always leave it on detail. If I'm shooting at ISO 200 or 400, I'm probably doing landscape, and I'm not worried about how many images per second I'm taking, okay? I won't touch that one again. Noise reduction, that's always going to off. Again, I don't want my camera to do noise reduction. I want it to be done in post-processing. Let's go to the one and dones. Again, the things that we're going to set once and only deal with that. So I'm going to hop over to the drive mode. That one I'm going to change regularly. I don't need to change any of these. So the next one that's going to be one and done for me is the image stabilizer. I want it on frames per second priority. I would rather capture more images than wait for my image stabilization to always kick in. I know a lot of people hate the handheld assist. That's the little white box that helps you know how much you're moving. I don't mind a cluttered, a busy viewfinder. I can see past that to my image. So I like having as much information as possible at my fingertips. Another one and done is Starry Sky autofocus settings. I want to check accuracy every single time, okay? And I'm going to put that to off because I do not want to be able to take a picture if it hasn't acquired autofocus. Since I use back button focus, I'm going to quickly turn off autofocus by half pressing the shutter button. And I always like being able to use back button focus if I accidentally hit or turn my camera in manual focus mode, okay? I like having manual focus assist. I like having peaking turned on. and I like having the focus indicator turned on. So that's a one and done for me. That will be set. I want to make sure peaking is in red. It is. That's the color I find that works the best. All right, these settings are very important, and there's 3 different places where we want to make sure live highlight alerts and histograms are turned on. And one of them here is in image playback. We want to make sure we can see both the histogram and highlight and shadow alerts, okay? Another one and done is how many images can I see when I'm zooming out using the rear dial. I like to have 4, 9, and 25. I never leave images on longer than a day, so calendar is not useful for me. So those will all be set and then done. Now we'll go into operations. Even though my button settings might be one and done usually, they also vary by custom mode. So I'm not going to go in and set those. Again, this is a real quick surface level one and done for the things that I tend to set and then never touch again. Some of these I'll touch again when I'm in programming for custom modes. Now my frame rate I normally turn to high, but I can't because I'm connected to an HDMI cable. So as soon as I get done recording the video, I'll change that to high. Selfie assist. If any of you ever see me taking a selfie with my camera, please come and help. I've been kidnapped and forced to do so. All right, now I like, I can't change my electronic viewfinder style. I'll do that one when I'm done. I like the one with the blue bar at the bottom, but very important here, info settings, right? So this is going to be for my electronic viewfinder. I only like having the image only, and I like my histogram, my highlight and shadow, level gauge, and all battery information. I want that all in one view. I don't want to have to continually press the info button to get to the things that I really want to see and do. So that's going to be it for me under the viewfinder info settings. Then we want to go to LCD info settings. So there are 3 different places to make sure highlights are turned on. Okay. Again, I'm going to uncheck information 2. I only want information 1, histogram, highlight and shadow, level, and battery information. So I have all of that available to me. Okay. Now I like shooting with the rule of thirds. So I want the true rule of thirds grid here. Boom. And that's a one and done. That'll be for all of my, whether it be for wildlife, landscape, night sky, whatever. Now, one thing I'm going to do, and I want you to just watch up here, I'm going to press the red button. The most important menu item that I put on my menu is card formatting. So I'm going to save it to my menu 1. That's the one I need to get to the most often, right? So I don't have any cards in here right now, but when I do, I will switch it to auto switch, okay? And it can't because I don't have any memory cards in here right now. But I always keep 2 cards in every camera body. And then when the first one becomes full, I want it to automatically go to the second. Well, what about an automatic backup? You could do that. I haven't had an issue because I use good quality cards. If they start getting older, I replace them. I don't worry about how much it costs me to replace them. And I just use good quality cards. And surprisingly enough, that's actually some of the cheaper ones out there, the ProMaster Ruggeds. I'll do a video about that more in depth at another time. But this will become, to go to auto switch once I unplug and put in some memory cards, okay? So next item is going to be, I will keep touchscreen settings off. You can't use it right here. Now, the focus beep. You would think I would always turn that off, but I leave that on for landscape and night sky because I often have my head at a funny angle or the camera down low. And if I'm trying to use Starry Sky autofocus, I want that beep because I don't want to be staring at the back of the camera waiting for that little green dot. So when I hear the beep, I know focus has been acquired. So that'll be off for wildlife and macro. It'll be on for landscape and night sky. I cannot make adjustments to sleep and auto power off because I'm connected to HDMI. I don't want my camera going to sleep. I put auto power off on 1 hour, okay? I figure if I haven't taken an image for an hour, I probably just forgot to turn my camera off. But sometimes on a boat trip, or you might have a little downtime. I want my camera to be ready to go as soon as possible. Now, this might not be a bad item to save to like my 5. This again is what language your menu is in. So if you ever accidentally change your menu, you can go to my 5 and look for that icon, the mouth with the text box, and you're not panicked or stuck out in the middle of nowhere, unable to read your menus. Okay? So there's the My menu. You see card formatting is on page 1. The English or choosing your language is on 5. So those are some of the settings that as soon as I get a brand new camera, those are a lot of the ones and dones that I like to set. Now my camera's ready to roll. I'm going to do that with this second body that'll be for landscape. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and set up for manual exposure. I only use manual. I don't use aperture priority, shutter priority, or anything else. I'm going to go through and then program each of these camera bodies for the custom settings. And I know you'd love to probably have some detailed videos on that. I'll be honest, to go into some of those depths would be a great way to participate in my OM System mentorship program. I'll be starting a new one later this year in 2024. It's limited to 12 people. It's about the same price as maybe a 5-day workshop, but it's much more in depth, and we will walk through every aspect of the OM-1 and now the OM-1 Mark II. So I'm looking forward to getting out in the field with these in Peru. I'll be testing them, photographing. I will then come back with some first impressions video and let you know what I think. I will be testing these on wildlife, birds, probably some landscape, for sure some macro. And I'll be working with them in some very humid conditions, possibly some rain. We usually do get some rain down there in the Peruvian Amazon. So looking forward to that. I have some space on some upcoming workshops. I have a couple of spaces left for Cuba. I have Grand Teton in winter coming up later this year. I've got some space on my Galapagos workshop. I'd sure appreciate if you'd hop over to the Wild Side Nature Tours and maybe join me out in the field. Also take a look at my OM System Only workshops. I'm ever grateful for the positive comments, the great feedback. Thank y'all very much. Some of y'all have made donations to my channel. I can't tell you how much that helps. I only have 4 days at home in between. I'm going to be recording several videos. So it's just a great reminder that what I'm doing makes a difference. And that helps me also tell the wife why I can come in here and record a video. So I appreciate you. Have a great week. Go out and get in some great shooting. Bye-bye.